All right, welcome. Oh, folks, I have the wrong thing up here. There we go. So stop sharing my screen. There we go. Folks can see you now. How are you, Chris?
Okay. I'm doing well. Doing well, Aaron. I've been looking forward to this for a while.
Yeah, same. We already made a mistake, so everything from here can just get better. So I'm gonna say welcome
Awesome.
to Automate All the Things, Chris. I'm excited to welcome you officially. So we've got Colleen in the chat. Say hi in the chat, folks. I'm like particularly excited about this because two things. One, you're gonna be teaching us, and I'm excited about that. And Alfred, something I've always wanted to like do more in, and it feels like you've mastered it. So I'm really excited about today.
Great. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a master. I'm sort of like one of those like, T-shaped, or I think Jared Spool calls it a comb-shaped person, where I have a bunch of different sort of like blocky skills and different things. And it was only last year that I really got into the weeds with Alfred. Um, as a longtime launcher user, um, you know, going back to like Quicksilver and like that whole era. And so I don't know. I realized that there's so much more that I was missing out on, and I started doing
Right.
repetitive tasks last year, and it was just like, okay, like let's go, let's get into this.
Awesome. So maybe take a step back before Alfred. Like, let's tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, we'll start, and then we'll talk
Of
about
course,
Alfred, and then like we
totally,
both
totally.
we got too excited there. So for
I know.
folks who don't
I
know
was like
you,
diving in right away.
give folks a little introduction to yourself.
Okay. Um, so my name is Chris Messina. I am a longtime citizen of the internet. I have served in roles as a product designer, as a technologist. I've worked at big tech companies like Google and Uber. I've also worked at small startups. I had a startup that was a conversational AI company that I took through Y Combinator. And I've also just spent a lot of time working with different folks in the trenches of launching their own products. Last year in particular, I became really, I don't want to say obsessed, but very involved with the product hunt ecosystem and community. And yeah, I still don't know exactly what I want to be when I grow up, but I'm a big lover of technology, but also the way in which people work with their technology and, if not bend it to their will, kind of collaborate with it to get more done. So I am coming from you from Oakland, California. I left San Francisco. I went across the
Yeah.
bay, and yeah, I mean, I suppose that's a good place to start.
So I feel like we have kind of two audiences here. One, folks who are like super familiar with Alfred and who want us to like start automating. And I'm gonna have to hold back on the reins on that first, because I think a lot of people aren't as on Twitter, and maybe don't know you as well. So I really appreciate that introduction. And second, would love to kind of like talk to, like, it seems like you said like you were doing manual tasks last year, and then that got you to Alfred. So what is Alfred for folks who are, A, aren't on Twitter, or B, aren't already experts, which again, it seems like in the chat we have a bunch of them, but curious to know, what is Alfred for you? Like, I've dabbled with it, and frankly, I still can't really
Yeah,
explain what it does.
yeah. So I think the thing that makes it a little hard to understand Alfred is that Alfred and Quicksilver and Launchbar, and there are a bunch of these, particularly Mac apps, but they do exist on the PC as well. Have been around for quite a while, and they preceded Spotlight. So one of the things that
Mm,
Spotlight on the Mac has done is it's kind of stolen the thunder of these more complex launchers. Um,
right.
and essentially, like the idea is that you activate essentially a temporary command sort of, I mean, it's not a command line, but it's sort of like a command line style interface. And you type some words into it, and the software should have a sense for what it is that you're trying to do. And then it kind of quickly allows you to execute that command, as
Right.
opposed to, and in contrast to, let's say, going into your applications folder, finding the application, double clicking it. And it also allows you to connect to APIs or to other workflows, so that you're sort of keeping your fingers on the keyboard
Right.
and making fast work out of things that otherwise would take you dozens of clicks, and just would be really inefficient. So it really is about productivity. It's about staying in focus and flow. It's
Mm,
about the ability to kind of capture the things that you might be doing throughout the day, sending it and piping it into Alfred, and then sending it off to the appropriate either web app, web service application, like I use things to manage my tasks, and there are what are called workflows that are essentially kind of installable plugins for Alfred that would allow you to set up a keyword and then create a new task on the fly without ever
Right.
having to launch the Things app itself, right? So just like
Right.
things like that are all about kind of finding ways of doing productivity. Um, One of the things, by the way, someone in the chat mentioned, I forgot to point this out, but one of my sort of like claims to fame is having invented the hashtag. And one of the things that is useful about the lesson from that experience that I applied to my use of Alfred is that you start to become aware of your own patterns and what you
Mm,
do on your computer. You start to see things that are repetitive and you're doing over and over again. That's the perfect case. I mean, as you know, with all the work that you do with automation, in a similar way, if you pick out those patterns, you're like, okay, I keep doing this over and over again.
right.
It's really slow. It's really inefficient. Is there a better way to do this, or to put this into my launcher, into Alfred? And then can I do it very quickly in a brute force kind of way? And then if you need to embellish that, can you go deeper with building your own workflow? And so that's kind of, I guess, philosophically the way that I approach it.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think what's interesting, and we were talking about this before, like, my automation tools are Airtable and Zapier and Parabola, and my usage of Alfred is purely like, I find things on my computer with it, or I do have one workflow where I add tasks to Airtable. But for you, this is like your tool that lives on top of everything else. Like that is your kind of entry into your stack of everything. Like you always think of Alfred as the first. So I'm really keen to kind of learn like how you use it, and I'd love to know, like, in the chat, like, what are you like? It seems like we have some experts here, so let us know what you use Alfred for, or what you'd like to use it for. And we'll try to kind of incorporate that. We've kind of have a little bit of a skeleton of what we'd like to show, but you folks are on the chat, so we'd love to know what do you want to automate. And yeah, I'm really excited to jump in here. So I don't know about you. Are you ready to go? Let's jump in.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay,
Let's do
cool.
it. And yeah, I mean,
All
for
right.
anybody in the chat, would love your questions, would love your suggestions. Um, I'm of course, like I said, like not an expert in the sense that I can write a lot of code, but I can put a bunch of things together. And one of the great things, and I want to be clear, Alfred does require you to buy what's called the Power Pack, and essentially
Mm,
that's kind of like their in-app upgrade experience that unlocks workflows, that unlocks customization and themes, and a bunch of great features. So you can use Alfred as a basic launcher without buying that. It's free to download, and I'll put in the link in the chat here. But without that Power Pack, you're not going to get a lot of the value out of that
yeah. So we're
the product.
so two things. We're gonna assume everyone has the Power Pack. I have it, and if you don't have it, just go out and get it. I think it's like $50. It's well
Yeah,
worth it. And then second,
yeah.
not knowing how to write code and patching things together is the tagline of automate all the things. That is what people come here to do. So know that
Awesome.
you're very much in the right place of like no writing code and patching things together. So cool. We have some examples in the chat. I'm gonna be, if you can give that a look, I'm gonna start setting up the store. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
start sharing my screen here.
Yep. Yeah, one of the ones Altron mentioned, the kill workflow being the best. Like that's a really good example of the deep integration that you can do with Alfred and your operating system. Well, the only operating system it works on is Mac, of course. But in terms of having to, let's say, otherwise go to your activity monitor, where there you see the apps that are running and one that might be like locked or something, you just install the kill workflow and then you type kill, and then it'll actually go and poll your system to find the running apps that are available, and then you can kill them right from there. So if you have like an unruly, I don't know, video app or something, that's like a much faster way to do it.
Mm,
And so that's a really good
interesting. So you
example.
can actually
Yeah.
kind of like write kill and then the application, and it'll just close it for you.
Yes, yes. And in fact, actually, one of my other favorite workflows is another um, uh, operating system level integration, which is called, I think it's just called output or something. Anyways, what it allows you to do from the command line is to list your audio output and input devices. And so I'm
Mm,
constantly going back and forth between headphones, my Mac system speakers, and my AirPods. And so I just type output, and then it allows me to choose from that list. And so I never have to go up to like the stupid menu and like futz around with that.
Cool. So let's add those to the, like, I don't have it set up. I don't have kill or output set up. And as someone who, uses audio, so let's add those to the list today. So, how about, okay, so we've got a mix of people. We're going to start really, really simple. I've got my Alfred app set up here.
So right.
What,
so let's
what
just
am I
look at
looking
what you're
at
looking
here?
at first, right? Yeah. So this is, so you've done something that's a little bit, okay, tweaky. So let's start here. So this is the Alfred kind of nervous system, if you will. The very first and most important thing is to set your shortcut key. And I think, the Mac might have taken over, with Spotlight, like Command Space. And so sometimes you have to unset that keyboard shortcut depending on what you want to use. One of the things that, I'm not going to get too advanced into this, but I found this great tool that allows me to reuse my caps lock key as my Alfred activator.
Is that Carabin?
We're not going to do that today. Carabiner. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Carabiner. Yeah.
So you can overload your, like, whatever your keyboard your keys are to trigger different keys. Anyways, we're not going to do that today. Today for you, it looks like you're going to use Option Space as your shortcut. Right.
I like it because it's close. It's close to Spotlight, but it's just, it wasn't like I didn't have to relearn. And so this was actually good for me.
That's one of the funny things, right? If you're going to continue to use Spotlight, then having Option Space, works great. If you want to replace your use of Spotlight, like I don't use Spotlight at all anymore, then what I would recommend is to go into your, actually, we can show people how to do this. So launch Alfred with Option Space right now.
Yeah.
And then type K-E-Y-B.
K-A-Y.
So actually, no. K was fine. Just start with K.
Okay, keyboard.
There you go. Look, keyboard, right? Boom. So this is an example. So what we're trying to do is quickly get into your keyboard shortcuts. So now you would go to the shortcuts thing there, right? And on the left-hand side, go down to Spotlight.
I feel like you're gonna make me click on things and then I'll lose control of my computer. You're like trolling me on my stream
how I take
here.
You over.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So here's an example. So for the purposes of this session, exactly. Turn that off. Now go back to Alfred. And now tap into that. Yep. And then let's reset that to Command Space. Great. Perfect. Yep.
Boom. Okay. I've remapped it. You guys have to trust me that this works. I'm not going to show but it's, so I see the goal here is for you to get me to stop using Spotlight. So clearly you want me to be a purist. I'm okay with that for the next hour, but I know promises.
The next hour.
For the next hour, I'm a purist. Okay, so we've remapped.
I just want you to get the feel for it, right? So that muscle memory that you have right now for Spotlight now is going to be taken over with Alfred, and pretty soon you'll understand why. Okay, so the next thing that I thought we'd go to is, let's be frank. Your Alfred UI, the little pop-up thing it's not very pretty right now. I'll just put it that way.
So I agree with you, but I also feel very judged right now. So I'm excited to see what you're going to change about my UI here.
No, it's more about Alfred's defaults. I don't know why Alfred likes this like sort of boxy, obnoxious look, but what I would suggest is I've got a couple different themes, and I will share them here. Cool. They're over on my. Actually, I think if we do Q equals theme. This is my GitHub, and so if you pull that up,
you can't say you're not like a coder and then just drop your GitHub link in the chat. Like, oh no, folks, I don't know how to write code, but here's my GitHub, repository.
I know how to look at code.
I'm messing with you.
Okay. So here are my themes.
Okay, which one would you recommend?
Well,
Dropbox Paper. I'm a fan of Dropbox Paper.
Okay. Yeah. The one thing that's a little bit tweaky about that, actually, let's do the theme craft, because that one I think doesn't use any special fonts. So if you use or have the San Francisco font, then that should be good. Actually, scroll down. Oh, so on the right there where it says releases.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Here,
okay,
just
so
one
grab.
right
So click on that, and then you'll see where it says craftthemes.zip.
Craftthemes.zip. There we go. Right in front of me.
There you go. Grab that. Yep. Open that up. Now there are two files in there. One, and actually this will be maybe the first little pro tip. This is kind of interesting. Oh, I know what we have to do. Um, Sorry.
We're improvising here. Let's do it. Where are we going? So I got dark or light.
Okay. So go ahead and double click on both of those. And this will allow you to install these two
Ooh,
themes.
I like it.
Okay.
I
So
like
this
the
is the
dark.
dark one. So now go back to Finder and install the light. I know you
Nah, I
must like
like
the
dark.
light. Okay.
I like the dark.
Okay. Okay. So the thing that I was going to share with you, let me see if I can find this. I know this is like the most interesting. Oh, interesting. Is that where it is?
Oh, I didn't know I could
Sorry.
just edit this. So I can just kind of
Are
like,
you editing the theme? Are you messing with my theme right now?
well, I
I
hope
bet
I'm
you
only
are, aren't
messing
you?
it for myself. I don't want to, no one,
You are.
if folks who have come to my stream regularly know that you don't trust me with any design decisions ever. So as long as I am the only person who lives with the consequences of my design decisions, that's
Yes.
good. But this looks
This is
good. That
only
was actually
affecting you. So if you want to screw
good.
things up, one of the things that I do like to do, if you go and look in that column there where it lists the themes, there's an
Yeah.
options button. It's a little bit hidden, right? Click
Yeah,
on
right
that.
here.
Yep. Okay. Now I hide the hat. That's one thing that I do.
Oh, damn.
Yep. And then under show results subtext,
Yep.
I change that to only for alternative actions. These are just like
Got it.
minor tweaks, not a big deal, but
No, I already feel like I've
that's
leveled up because I did kind of feel janky in my old like little box. But yeah, like okay, so for folks who aren't familiar with Alfred App, everything we're doing right now is like optional, right? We're not going to
totally
configure
optional.
Alfred, but it's just making it look nice. So let's see what this looks like now.
Yeah.
Ooh, that looks much nicer.
Yeah. Right. So it's
I
like,
like it.
and so
Yeah.
this design, this theme was inspired by Craft, which is a Mac app that is great for just taking notes and stuff like that. I did send you, there's one more link that I thought would be another good example of using Alfred, and also one that will show you a really interesting trick about Alfred that it took me a long time to learn. So I sent you, yep, exactly. So what you'll find is there's just a bunch of workflows all over the place.
Oh,
Oh, I
interesting.
actually contributed to this one. That's
So
cute.
this one
And a
toggles.
lot of them are
You
on
can.
your appearance, your system appearance,
Interesting.
right?
Yeah. Let's,
So go ahead and download that workflow, and you're going to install that, right? So it's as simple as just downloading a .alfred file, and then from your browser, okay, cool. Yep, you can just import that. So now we've imported our first workflow. So that's how fast and easy it is, right? You basically just
right.
installed kind of like a Chrome extension, but for Alfred.
Yeah.
Now,
This is actually a really good intro into like Alfred itself. So this is what the interface of the like what the workflow. So maybe before we install this, like talk to folks what a workflow is considered for Alfred. Like we just installed one, and just like
yeah,
you said, a Chrome extension. But like, what am I
yeah,
looking at here?
yep. So this is the workflow editor. And Alfred provides this visual tool for essentially connecting, if you've used, well, I mean, Zapier, I don't think has a visual editor like this, but there are other automation tools that allow you to create sequences that go from like one,
Right.
kind of activation into some other process and then something else. And so that's what you're looking at right here.
Got it. So this actually does feel like if folks are familiar with Integromat or maybe even like Parabola, who like are actually newer tools from Zapier, but give you that canvas type interface where like, when this happens or do these things more. Yeah. So Colleen, totally agree with you. Like this does feel like a Integromat type or Parabola. So this does feel familiar, but I guess the difference is that it all starts here, right? So it takes its input from
So
whatever
exactly.
I
So
type
this
here.
is really great. Yeah, that's right.
Got
So
it.
what we did was we just installed the workflow, right? Uh, Altrin is right. Yeah, you can do lots of things. You can start just visually. And so what we did
Right.
was we installed someone else's workflow, right? So one of the other beautiful things is that it's once you've made a workflow, you can then share it out on the internet, as I do through GitHub, or there's
Right.
essentially another resource that you can use that I'm not going to get into now. But what I want to show is that so after we've installed this, now there are a set of keywords that you'll notice on the
Right.
far left there. There's theme, toggle, dark, and light. And so at the very top of those nodes, that basically are the keywords that you would type to activate
Right.
this workflow. So go ahead and type activate Alfred and then type toggle.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Now, see, so what's happened here is that this is using what's called a list filter. Now, again, like I'll probably be using some of this language here and there, but so, right, those are basically synonyms. Theme and toggle are more or less like they do the same thing. So if you type theme, go ahead and type theme instead.
Oh, interesting.
Right?
Got it.
Okay, because like I sometimes forget like what the keyword is. And so I'm like, well, I want to, be able to type either toggle or theme because that makes the most sense. So what I want to show right now is okay. We're gonna sequence this correctly. Go back to appearance in Alfred.
Got it.
This is the hidden feature. Now click on craft light.
Yeah.
Okay. Now activate Alfred and type toggle. And then choose dark.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, you can do that. Oh, right. You'll need to do that.
Yeah.
Say okay.
Give it to them. There we go.
Okay.
Alfred.
So now it's right. And now we're basically using the Alfred dark theme because Alfred knows that there are two different themes, one for the light and one for the dark. So now you're going to go and click craft dark.
Craft dark.
Okay. And now when your system appearance is dark, it'll use this dark theme. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, totally. So so the workflow matches
so these are separate things. And I know that I'm like showing you a bunch of stuff.
No, it's cool. So I love the also you're kind of messing with my computer because now my computer's in dark mode, but I love the fact that like you're remotely messing up my whole system, which I will for the next hour totally allow you to do. So that's really cool.
So just type G, GE. Oh, there it is. General. Okay, great. Now hit enter on your keyboard.
I'm worried here. What is this going to do?
This is your general system preferences.
Okay, no problem. Just messing. Okay, here we go. Okay.
All right. Now you can switch yourself back to light.
Got it.
And what I'm trying to show you, and now activate Alfred again.
It's light. I like it.
Okay. So what I just showed you was a couple things. One is that you can obviously change your system appearance by doing a series of clicks and taps and going to system preferences and choosing general and choosing, light or dark. But this workflow does it for you, right? Using these two keywords. And we also installed two custom themes for Alfred that now will change based on your system appearance. So it took me forever to figure out that Alfred actually did that. So
just you have found the place where that type of niche automation is exactly what people come here for. Like, that you are in the right place. The fact that there was no code involved, we took someone else's code, and we probably did an automation that probably speaks to like max 0.1 or 0.2% of users. But for those people are on the stream. These are good. Right. So this is exactly the type of stuff I expect from Alfred, and I'm like, this got me really excited into like, okay, so it's really cool that we can do something like this. So I guess that is the end goal, right? So we want to maybe get to a point where we can look at something like this and understand it, but maybe
so let me also just
go for it.
A mental model perspective, right? This whole toggling thing became something that was important to me to be able to do, and I found myself doing exactly the flow I mentioned before, opening system preferences, going to general, finding the appearance, and then having to like flip it, right? And so I wanted to be able to do that more easily, faster, quicker. And I was like, someone must have built a workflow for this. Turns out they did. And so it's one of those great examples where once you notice yourself doing something over and over again, like trying to futz around through your system, there's probably a workflow way that you can do this. And so in a similar way, if let's see, we can either go and dive directly into like the Twitter workflow and kind of like show how that mental model applies there, or I can show you how to make use of the web search feature, which then kind of opens into the Twitter workflow.
I think what do folks? So I'm personally curious about the Twitter workflow because it does, it does something that's important to me, which is deep linking or allowing to provide parameters into a URL. So there's some asks So Edmund talking about Twitter. So let's do Twitter. We'll start with Twitter. How about that? And then folks are asking about clipboard history, which frankly I'm also really interested in. So if you're comfortable, I'd love to do clipboard history. And then third,
Yeah.
maybe we end with the Airtable connection at the end
Yep.
around
God, there's so
Zapier
much. There's so much that
webhooks.
we could like, dig into here.
We'll make this a regular stream. We'll
I,
just come back regularly. Let's try to get as much done. Cool. Where do we start with the Twitter toolkit? What is the Twitter toolkit?
okay.
What's a
Why don't
toolkit?
we actually let's start with search, because
Okay.
search will provide us with kind of an idea for how Alfred can work with links, and
Sure.
that is actually essential to the Twitter thing. So go back over to features.
Features.
Okay. So here's where a bunch of the built-in magic stuff happens in Alfred.
Got it.
All right. All that stuff there are, you might think of them as kind of like built-in workflows that Alfred or the team at Alfred have built and are including in Alfred. And you can change the default results. You can change file search. So basically the scope of what Alfred is aware of on your system can be tweaked within this panel.
Got it. Okay.
So for example, like here in the search scope, you may want to leave out, certain, I don't know, directories, or maybe you want to add some more.
Right.
In addition, you can see up above there where it says the essentials. What do you want to include? Do you want to include folders, images, documents? Now that means that the search can get really messy. And I find that can be like kind of not so great. But there are some cases where you want to be able to pull up, let's say, in this case, you do have your contacts enabled, so you can quickly get to a person, get their address information, their contact information. Super useful. But one of the questions was about the clipboard history. So if you'll notice there, I think 5th or 6th down that list, there's clipboard history here. So you can decide how long let me pause for a second. I don't understand how people use a computer without some clipboard history manager. I personally use Paste App, which is why I didn't think directly to go to Alfred's clipboard history. But essentially what it allows you to do is have what's called a buffer for the number of things that you might copy and paste over time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I copy paste a lot of things. So
exactly.
I'll tell you how I solved this today. I actually have like a shortcut. So I have API and then I have all of my API keys.
Oh, wow.
So anything I copy paste regularly, I create that workflow. But I didn't know that you could have a history of your copy paste.
So as you can see here, and hopefully you've not copied things that are too sensitive right now, but if
I'm copying now. I'm like copying
a bunch of like random piece of text or whatever.
Because I have API keys, yeah.
We'll just show like the high level of this. If you now do Option Command C.
Oops. Option Command C. Which one is? Yeah. Which one is Option on the Mac?
Option is the one to the left of Command.
Left of Command. So I'm on a custom keyboard. Can I do that?
Oh, well, I mean, so
I can change it.
Hotkey.
I can change it. There we go. Okay.
Yep. Cool. Perfect. Great. Okay, so these are your snippets. Okay, so you must have overrode the snippets.
So how do I undo that?
Okay, well, so below clipboard history are snippets on the left. Sorry, nope, keep going left.
Is it because I don't have a history? I don't have any keep plain text.
Great, go ahead. Yeah, turn those on. Oh, you can also activate Alfred and just type clipboard.
There we go. Now it works.
There we go. All right, perfect. Awesome.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Dude, this is huge.
And so what it'll do on the right-hand side there, actually go back and turn on keep images.
Keep images.
Yeah. Now you've got some images on your desktop there. Go ahead and like right-click on one of those and choose copy.
Copy. Can I just copy? Can I just do?
Yeah. Oh, you can just do Command C, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Seriously. Okay. So then if I go to, where are my images?
What happened? Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know what happened.
All snippets? Let me do a proper copy.
Okay.
Copy.
It should work. But yeah, it should work. Yeah, you could do like a screenshot maybe.
Oh, there we go. There they are.
Yep. Cool.
Oof.
So that's audio.
So,
interesting.
No, audio
So
is the
you,
name of the name
oh,
of
the file.
the
So
image. Yeah.
if you use your keyboard here and you hit the space bar, it'll actually show you a preview. Like, so if you hover over, yep. Did it work or not?
No, it's not
I
working
thought
at
it
all.
did. Okay. Well, you know
That's
what?
fine.
I'm not
We're
an
going
expert
to
in the clipboard manager because I use Paste App.
see, we're not going to go into Paste App, but
Okay.
I am curious.
Let's
So,
let's let's go,
how does this
let's go back
help
to
us
web
understand
search.
workflows?
Yeah. Well, so let's go back to web search because this is like what I really wanted to get into. Okay. So these are all the default built-in web searches that Alfred provides. And let's see. So what happens here is if let's do a search on Wikipedia. So if you activate Alfred and you type wiki, you can see that in this list, wiki is associated with Wikipedia. And so now if you,
Right.
you know, type hashtags. So what you're now doing basically, oh, look, there I am.
Ooh.
It's a horrible
Old
of
photo.
me. But anyways, it's an
I
old
like it.
photo. Yeah, it's back in the
Let me
day.
copy it.
That's right.
There you go. It's forever in my clipboard history now, or for the next 24 hours anyway.
For 24 hours. So what this is showing you is how you can use Alfred to quickly get to
Right.
destinations where you might otherwise perform this search, right?
So how does Alfred go from like I want to go to wiki, I put the word hashtag, how does it end up at that URL?
Great question. Okay, so let's see, what's a good one to add? Well, I have a bunch of them. Okay, so anyways, go back to the Alfred interface. Yep, double click on one of these. I think you can open it.
Let's go to the wiki one.
Oh,
If I can.
it might not allow you to. Okay,
No,
that
it
only
seems
allows you to
locked.
change that. Okay, so what we're gonna do instead is let's do a search on, yeah, Spotify's already in there. What's a site that has, oh, Etsy. Etsy is a good one, I think, because Etsy is not in there. Yeah, eBay is. Okay, go to Etsy.com. I'm going to show you how this kind of works.
Sure.
Okay, great. So where it says search for anything up in the top there,
Yep.
type, now this is another trick that I use. Type query space is, I-Z, query is. Okay, great. Now hit enter. Okay, now what you have is you have a URL up at the top there. Okay, so grab that, copy that. Now
In
go
my
back
clipboard
to,
history.
yeah, great. Go back to Alfred.
Yep.
And now hit on the bottom right corner, say add custom search. Now this is how you're going to start to learn how this all comes together.
Right.
Paste that in here. Okay. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that what Etsy did was it rewrote your space, the query space is, to %20, which you can see right below that line there where Alfred says encode spaces as. Sometimes they use pluses. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Now, in order for this to work, you need to replace the word query and just put curly brackets around it. And then get rid of the %20 is, you don't need that. Great.
Yep.
Now go down to title and just let's just call it search Etsy for. Now we're going to show you how variables work.
Right.
Use that text, the curly braces, and query.
There we go.
Perfect. And for the keyword, let's just use Etsy. Okay. So now what you've done without any programming is you are about to add a custom search to Alfred.
Okay. So let me try to foreshadow where we're going, and you'll tell me if I'm right.
Yep.
So in Alfred, I'm gonna write the word Etsy. That's gonna know that I want to search for Etsy. Everything I write after Etsy, it's gonna put into query, and then that's gonna turn into this URL, which will then search Etsy. Is that like
Nailed it.
Is that what the flow is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you'll also, again, it's using the word keyword here, and the keyword is just like anything in that workflow editor that is a keyword, and we'll show you how that works. Right.
Okay. So
just know that we're using the same terminology in these different places.
So we're saying Etsy.
Now, yep. Space.
Got it. And then let's say I'm really into amigurumi these days, so this is
Perfect. So you can see what Alfred's doing there, right? Was it actually was using your text as you were typing to fill it in, and now it's actually added that text into the URL and it's executed the search.
Okay. So, for folks who aren't Alfred users and can think about more, like we're very familiar with Airtable on this stream, and so this is kind of like the button field almost, right? So the button field allows you to take values from another field and turn it into a URL that you can click on. And folks who have been coming to the stream quite often could remember when we did this with searching for inventory. So you can actually use maybe something like Airbnb. You have your dates, you click on the button. This is another way of doing that, but I think is a little more high level and is more applicable broadly because it's directly from your computer. So I'm excited to see where this goes. And now I really want one of these Bernie Sanders.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
I could knit one. I could probably knit one. Okay. Future stream. Knitting is for a future stream. All right.
Yeah,
so I think
they have a virus. They have the coronavirus.
yeah, that's not cool. So for folks, let us know if in the chat. So for folks, does that make sense? Like I want to make sure that building block makes sense before we're kind of leveling up here. And yes, it's called amigurumi. I also learned about that recently. And great gifts, great way to spend time during stay at home. So highly recommend, and people love receiving them. So if we'll do a separate stream on knitting for sure one day where folks can just come and watch knit. So, okay. I think I understand this. How do we build on this? Like, where do we go from here?
Got it. So as I mentioned, one of the things that I've been noticing about myself was I am an avid Twitterer. I've been on the site. Way. I know. Imagine that, right? I was in the first 2,000 users of Twitter. So I've been around for a long time. And I got to say, like, Twitter search has become so good in recent years when it used to be really, really bad. And what I find myself doing personally, and again, this may not apply if you are not an active Twitterer, but the point is to demonstrate how I was observing my own behavior and saying, I keep going back to my browser. I keep typing in twitter.com. I then go to the search box, and then I have to go to an advanced search. And it's just like so inefficient. What I want to be able to do is have a thought. Oh, I tweeted about this the other day and I want to add to my thread. How do I quickly get to that tweet? And so I started to essentially map out my own behavior, and then I built a workflow around it. So what I think we could do, so go back to workflows. And why don't you, we're gonna recreate some things here. So go ahead and right click on the Twitter toolkit, and we're gonna disable it. So there is a right click option here. So rather than
enable, it's no longer enabled.
Now it's disabled.
Yeah.
And the reason why we're going to do that is because we're going to recreate some of these features very quickly.
Cool.
Right. So go ahead and create a new workflow. Yep. And so just call it blank. Perfect. We'll call this, you can call it my Twitter toolkit or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't really matter.
I'm going to call it Zurich, but live. There we go.
Perfect. Great.
It's the same, but just we're doing it live. So people need to be less demanding of us and more understanding. Okay. Definitely productivity. This is 100%. Twitter is productivity, obviously. Do I need to input anything else?
Nope. It's all optional. Some of those things in there are for if you go deeper and you want to start, let's say you create one workflow and you wanted to call another one, that can sort of allow these things to talk to each other, but we're not going to deal with that right now.
Cool.
I'll show you one more quick trick since you did download the Twitter app. Is that right?
Yep. I got the Twitter app right here.
Okay. So double click on we don't need that just yet. Double click on the, bring up that panel that you just had for the workflow. Edit details, double click, should both do it. Great. Now activate Alfred and type TW. And what we're trying to do is we're going to get the icon. So drag that first item there into the well. Yep.
Nice.
Keep going. Yep. Drop it there. Boom. Now you start to look professional, right? This is what makes me look professional, not the stream or the setup or this is how, Chris, you differentiate your people. Do they have the right
Okay. I'm okay. Cool. So
Okay.
how do we build this thing?
Okay. So we're going to do a couple things. One of the things that I want to be able to do is be able to go to anybody's Twitter profile based on their
Mm-hmm.
username. I also
Cool.
ultimately will want to do searches. And let's see what else. Oh, maybe I want to go to my notifications, right? So I want to be able to
Yep.
do this all from Alfred. So what we're going to do first is right click, and this allows us to add in an object. And so there are a bunch of different choices here. And this is, this gets a little bit confusing, but there is documentation on the Alfred site. What we're going to start with is we're going to start with an input, which is
Yep.
a keyword. All right. So just like in that custom web search, right? This is where you create the keyword that you type
Got it.
in order to have the thing happen, right? So this is
Right.
just activating Alfred, and then what do you want to type to make something happen? So what we're going to do is we're going to use the @ symbol. All right. And
Got
now
it.
we know that usernames don't have a space. So remove space, and we're going to keep the argument required. This means that you have to type something after the keyword.
Right.
Got
So
it?
the trick that's it's not just the at, you have to actually type something after the at, which I imagine is going to be the
Yes,
username.
correct. And now for the title, this is where you're going to say go to, we'll just use that text for now,
Right.
and then and then query. So query is whatever is being typed into Alfred.
Got it.
And
So
now you can just
okay.
hit save. Okay. So now activate Alfred and yep. And now type exactly.
Right.
Right. Now, because we haven't hooked that up to anything, it doesn't do anything.
Right.
But that shows you kind of what we have is the basic building block here on how to activate it. So what we want to do is we want to open up a URL that will essentially load twitter.com / and then the username.
Right.
So
And the reason
essentially-
is, let me just kind of go to Twitter here. If I go to twitter.com / the use, that's what brings me to the username.
exactly.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And
Cool.
so
Okay. So that makes sense.
pretty straightforward. So now you
So how do we open a URL?
Yeah. So right click in the open space here, and you're going to choose, I believe it's outputs maybe, or is it, I always get lost. Maybe it's actions, open URL.
Open. There we go.
Yep. Perfect.
Okay.
So now this is a little bit different than, I mean, it's sort of like they took apart that custom web search UI. And so what you're going to do is just, you're going to type in twitter.com, and you need a HTTPS also. So a fully valid URL. Just get rid of the www.
Oh, right. It's right. There we go.
Okay. And now just because you can go to Twitter usernames, I think, well, it's just at the root. So you're just going to type query at the end there. And so that'll take whatever text you've typed into Alfred and put it into the URL, just like we did with Etsy.
Got it.
So now go ahead and hit save. So now you have an output. And now you just got to link them together.
Right. So I can, yeah, there we go.
Spot.
Okay.
Yep. Boom.
Boom.
Right.
Easy.
So now try that thing that you did again, where you launch Alfred, type @ and then a username.
This is yours, right?
Yep. Boom.
There we go. Boom. Okay, so we can do anyone.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, who's yeah, there you go.
Who's drop your
drop your handle in the chat.
Drop your handle. You're gonna get some cred. That's awesome. That was actually very simple. So let me just walk it back to my understanding. So you're essentially saying this is what triggers. Query is everything that comes after.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so then you could then use that query, that variable in other places throughout to say, okay, like go to, so folks want us to do their.
Yeah. We got some examples. Go ahead and pull them up.
Boom. Easy.
Fast and curious. I like it.
There we go. So easy. Okay. So I like that. I think that's simple. Okay. So that was the first one, username.
Yep.
Searches feels a little probably harder. I feel maybe I'm wrong.
Well, let's try it.
Yeah.
So one of the things, okay, this one's great. I know that you tweet a bit, right? So
I try
go to Twitter.
Yeah.
we're gonna sort of reverse engineer this one because I don't exactly
Okay.
know how this works. So do a search, let's say for Airtable, without the at. Okay, go ahead and hit enter. Okay, now instantly you'll notice a few things about this. First, you have a URL, right? And you've got the query that's in there, right? So we're going to use that. That's right. If you want to, let's see. So on the very far right, you see search filters,
Yeah.
right? So why don't you choose people you follow? Now, this adds something to the query string,
Right here.
which is the PF, which basically stands
Right.
for personalization filter.
Got it.
So if that's turned on, that will change all the search results to be personalized to you. Now, this is basically providing you what's called the top search results. Whereas what you want to find, let's say, might be the latest and most current tweets,
Right.
right?
So right here.
Cool. Exactly. So now
Got it.
F equals live is the piece that changes the search to be the most recent tweets. So now what we're going to do is copy that entire URL.
I can do that. Boom.
And now let's create a open URL. Right click and choose actions, open URL. Okay, paste. And now change that query where it says Airtable to
Yeah.
query in curly quotes. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Hit save. Leave all the rest of the stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, move it over there. And then what's actually here's a little trick. Tap on the @ symbol up there. Yep. And hit Command C. So copy and then paste.
Perfect. Oh, we're just, okay. Yeah.
Right now, let's change that to now, let's call that tweets. Use the keyword tweets. And now in this case, you do want, yep, exactly, a space. And we'll say argument required. And now let's use search for the latest tweets about.
Got it.
Yep. And then get rid of the @ symbol there. Get an @ symbol in there.
Oh, right.
Yep. Perfect.
Boom. So connect these
now link those two together.
Okay. So if I go tweets,
and then do
tweets.
$GME.
This, sure.
Sure.
Got it. So it goes into latest, and it only takes people I follow.
Correct.
Which luckily don't tweet that much about GME. So this is it speaks highly of my Twitter thread. Okay.
All right. So now we're in here. I want to show you one more thing.
Right.
Click on the little dots next to the search box there for Twitter. Yep. And now do advanced search. Okay, great. Now, this is where you've got a bunch of amazing tools to cut and slice and dice Twitter results. So specifically what I want for you is to go down and where it says from these accounts, right?
From these, yep. Yeah, right here.
That's 2. You want from, so the one above it.
Oh, right here, yeah.
Yep, put your username in there.
Do I? Yeah, so, okay, cool. So I'm searching my own tweets.
Yes, and now hit search.
But I don't tweet about GME, so this
that's
should
okay.
be empty.
What we're doing right now is we're getting the link. We're just getting the link.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Right here.
So grab that. Yep, grab that URL. And actually what you'll notice is that it didn't actually include GME. All it is showing tweets from you. That's all we've done.
Right. Okay. So just, okay, it filtered out. It didn't actually go GME. So let's grab this, and then this is what we're building.
Right, so we're gonna do two personal. Yep. So this will be perfect. So
okay, cool.
Output a new open URL. So actions, I think.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I'm Canadian. Yep. I say sorry for everything.
For everything.
That's just what we are. People bump into me and I start saying sorry.
Okay. So what we're missing, I believe. Okay. So you'll see that next to from %3 Aron, right? There's the Q, but what we're missing is the text that you've typed. So to the left of the left paren, put your curly quote query in there.
Right. And then ampersand.
And now, and also, nope, because actually it's part of the query itself. So now just do %20. So it's actually a space.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Percent.
Oh, percent.
20.
Sorry.
Yep.
There we go. Okay.
And now hit save.
You're bold for a live stream. You're doing this on the fly. I'm very impressed, Chris. I feel like next week you're going to be hosting this thing. Very impressed. Let's see if this works. I don't know how confident you are. I'm not so confident.
You didn't hook anything up to it yet. So you got to.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Copy paste.
Yeah,
Copy paste.
We'll see. Copy paste. Yep. Now perfect. Let's rename that to my. And then let's change the title to search my latest tweets for, actually, it should say for, or search my latest tweets for query. Perfect. Now hit save. Now try it.
Okay, my
space, maybe Airtable.
Yeah, I tweet a lot about Airtable. Nice.
Boom.
I'm impressed.
Right? Okay, now we're going to do one more thing here. One more thing.
Okay.
Click on top. We have this request from Edmund, right? So what changed in the URL here? I guess it looks like maybe it removed something from the query
so if you go
string.
to latest, there's F
live.
equal live.
Cool. So we just need to remove that, and those will be your top tweets. So copy that whole thing. Exactly. Copy, paste. And go in there, remove the F equals live, get rid of that extra. Hit save. And now you're going to want to change the title. You can keep it, actually keep it as my. Keep it as my.
Right.
All right. Now go down and where it says search my latest, now change that to top. Search my top tweets.
Oh, right. Because, you're right. Well, how would it differentiate between these two? Oh, I just select the right one.
Uh-huh.
Huh?
Let's try it. Let's try it.
Aha moments on the stream. This is what we're here for. Okay, so my top Airtable tweets.
Boom.
Top
so
tweets
now you can
for
decide.
Okay. I like it.
Yep.
Top. So, but see, is this my top tweets?
It is based on either what, I don't know what the algorithm is, but that's what Twitter thinks.
Got it. Okay, so this is what what Twitter thinks I have most, like my top tweets about Airtable. Got it. Got it. Oh, so it's like top in the sense of like the top for
like the top, it's
this
sort of like
top.
in the same way, like Twitter has the algorithmic feed and it also has like the reverse chronological feed. Like latest is reverse chronological. It's just whatever happened the most recently.
Got it.
Right.
Cool. So where do we, I understand this model now where we're saying take, something that I read in, put it into a URL, but I feel like your toolkits go beyond this. So what are there some like routing rules? Where can we up level this from here?
Okay. So let me show you one more thing. Go back to Twitter. Yep. One of the things that, I do pretty obsessively is I use a lot of the features. So I will oftentimes be checking my notifications, right? So go ahead and click on notifications and let's grab that URL.
Yeah. Okay. / notifications. Got it.
Yep. Now let's go back to here. Yep. And if you want, you could actually just copy and paste that the top one. That works.
So notifications.
So what I do is I actually use exclamation point. So just bang. Yep. Exactly. So with space and then, okay, so go to notifications. Great. Now change where it says to the right of with space. You don't need an argument.
Right.
So no argument.
Okay. So you're just saying whenever I write exclamation, but just go. Like you don't need to there's no query essentially. There's no variable.
That's right.
Got it.
That's right.
Okay, cool. Then we just go to
this
here.
will just be notifications.
Oh, / notifications. For some reason there we go.
Cool.
Save that.
Save. And
I like it.
And boom, right? So the whole idea here is sometimes you need a query, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just want a fast way of opening up, and getting to like the stuff that you access on a regular basis. Now, why did I do it this way? Well, because lots of different platforms have notifications. And so what I wanted to do was train myself to be able to use the exclamation point to be able to see all of my different service notifications. or I use the app,
Interesting.
like symbol to be able to
Right.
look across all the different platforms to be able to open up those profiles, right? So
Interesting. So I
does
have a,
the Airtable forum? Do you guys have usernames or no?
I think so, and I think like I don't think the Airtable forum's that popular that I would build like shortcuts. I will say, and this is an aside, and maybe we'll have a separate conversation about this. So I actually built like a mini custom keyboard,
Oh wow!
right? So I
Oh,
don't know
that's
if you
super
can see
cute.
it.
Oh, that's amazing.
And
Wow!
what you can do
You
with
hook
this
those up
actually,
to Alfred.
so aside, and I'm sorry about this, but I have to show
No,
you this in the sense of
I
like,
appreciate, by the way, that you just demonstrated using Alfred to launch this. So
yes, yes. So this has a tie-in, but so essentially, what I do with this one, this is not the right. So I have for a webinar I give at Airtable, I have to open 7 tabs at once, and so I coded one of these
ah,
buttons to open all of those tabs. So what it does is like it goes to a URL, opens a new tab, goes to that URL, opens a new tab, and it does that. And honestly, it justifies everything I invested to learn this little thing. I also use it as a stream deck for the stream, but I'm
nice.
wondering, just we don't have to do it on the stream. Is that something I could do on Alfred of like open these
Let's
7
do it.
tabs?
Let's see how fast we can do it. Do you have the tab URLs handy?
I know what they are. I'll just let's say
Okay.
I'll just open 7
So
Airtable bases. It'll be the same.
let's create a new workflow
Okay.
and let's call it
But
Boom.
before, will I lose? I spent a lot of time building this thing.
I'm
Will I
sorry, but
lose
this is going to be
all?
better. You can still use it.
I mean, I
Just
could.
like
It's got little dials on it, like so that's pretty dope, right?
I mean, it's super dope. Yeah. Well,
But
maybe
I
you
don't
can,
use it.
take back that key and instead, use it for something different.
But I welded this thing. This is like soldered on.
You call it soldered or soldered? Because yeah.
I guess it's soldered. I like soldered. But does anyone want this? I'll just send it or whatever. Like it'll be like a gift. I actually have 10 of these that are like because I
Wow.
bought 10 because it was like cheaper to
Oh,
buy.
because it was, yeah, right. Good deal. I want one
So
of those.
yeah, I can send you
Yeah,
one.
totally.
Okay.
I would like wire that up to my Twitter toolkit so I could just like press buttons and like,
Yeah,
magically
that'd be dope, right?
yeah. I mean, with Carabiner, you probably could do that for sure.
No, so this actually you don't need carabiner because like so sorry we're going on a tangent here and I'm sorry about it but
Oh,
I'm
that's
I'm
fine.
keen because so this actually maps to like you can say when I press this button do you like press this button in because it is a keyboard it has that functionality because there's a
Yeah, yeah,
library so
yeah.
you could
I
use
see.
this as
Directly.
like
So basically, it
okay
would be like, yeah, it activates something and then, right.
but look how cute it is I can't not do it anymore. Okay, so I'm sorry. That was an aside. If anyone wants
All
one,
right.
DM me on
What is it
Twitter.
called? What's the thing
So,
called?
so this is, so it's an Arduino chip
Yeah.
on
Okay.
top of a thing called Retro Games, which and they call it a macro keyboard because you can trigger macros from
Oh, of course.
Arduino. And so the like last thing on this is that the other thing I'm building is like a little light that could turn on from the stream chat, and I got it to work. But I just need
Oh,
to like
nice.
build a bigger light behind me that folks can control. I
see.
So everything under here, under the stream that folks can't see, is just like Arduino shit that I need to like build. So okay,
You've got to like pull together your knitting habit with your Arduino, and then that would be some
no,
crazy
dude,
messed
if
up
I
stuff.
I wouldn't work, when would I work? I need to. I would just
That's a different
I
problem.
would. Okay, but I'm curious. Okay, so how would I open multiple
So like
tabs
this
as an
is
example?
like again like such a good example where we're just going to hack our way through this, and
Sure.
that's like getting to that point with Alfred. I think is so useful. So because we want to create this almost like a workspace for your Twitter stuff. Like maybe there's other
Right.
Twitter features that you want to add later. We're going to create a new workflow rather than putting it into here.
Yeah.
So go ahead and create a new one. Maybe if you want to call it macro, that might help you remember it. Cool.
Got it. Done. So
Whatever. Yep.
opens a bunch of tabs.
Sure.
It is 100%
And these, by the way, like
productivity.
these descriptions and stuff, like those are primarily for if you're publishing or sharing your workflow. One of the
gonna
things
put
that also might be, oh yeah, you got to double click it. Oh, you gotta open the
Oh,
panel.
I'm gonna put the Arduino because that's what you're replacing,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
feel sad.
No,
You know, I
this is perfect.
feel a little sad about that. There we go. It's a sad Arduino. It's not a happy Arduino. It's a very
No,
sad
it's
Arduino.
kind of
Boom.
it looks like it got punched in the eye.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay,
It does feel that way. Okay.
so we've got a couple options here. Why don't we create a keyword trigger? Let's call it macro.
Sure. Hotkey.
Input.
Oh, no,
wait,
yeah, you're right. I don't want a hotkey.
Well, we'll get there. And so
You
inputs,
said
inputs.
inputs keyword. Okay, that is confusing to me, but so we're saying
It is
macro.
macro. Yep.
No
And then,
argument.
no space, no argument. Okay, cool. Exactly. And then title should be launch my tabs or something.
Okay, got it. Save.
Great. Okay.
Okay.
Now, again, just like we did before, right click and then open URL, right? Action, open URL.
Okay, so let's say my first one is let me open up some bases here. Let me go to Google Chrome. Let's go to Airtable. And shout out to airtable.com/webinars if you ever want to catch that webinar. I'm the host of 2 of them. I co-host
Nice.
the Power Up one is the one where I open a bunch of tabs. So let's open a few of these. Like let's say this one. Okay, I want to open that. Save. Okay.
So you just copy and paste that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing else to do. Yeah, so just save that one.
Yep. So copy that
Okay.
object, paste.
So just this one.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
And should I just do this?
Imagine that. Uh-huh.
No, dude, you can't tell me I spent hundreds of dollars trying to figure out how this works. And I had Alfred
Just keep
installed.
going. Add a few more. Add a few more.
Okay.
Add a
No,
few more
man.
links there. We got to make sure this is sufficiently mind blowing.
Okay.
Now you can actually copy 2 of those objects, those URL objects, over in Alfred. Yep.
Yeah.
Great. You start to see this gets a little exponential.
Okay, so let's say this one opens the same one, but with the block. Let's say this one opens like that. Yeah. Because that's one of them as well. And then this one opens like, I don't know, I usually have a script. So let's just go google.com. That'll be my script.
Okay.
Save. Okay. So you're saying
Go for it.
if I just, so let me, no, okay, let's just.
So close. Maybe create a new browser window, right? So Command N. Yep, that works.
I feel like you're judging me
then-
because I
yep,
didn't use a
great.
shortcut. You're like, oh, look at this noob
No,
and his
totally
mouse.
fine.
I feel like I'm back in my like finance days where people are judging me from using my mouse. Okay, so you're saying just do macro.
Do it. Let's see what happens.
Damn. The worst part of this is
There they are.
okay. So we're gonna do this is success. This is success right here. So I have a macro when I write success in the chat. It makes confetti fall on the
Nice.
stream.
Nice.
So I'm really impressed. And
So let's do one more.
let's do it.
Let's do one more quick thing here. So close this window, the Chrome window. So people know we're not cheating.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Go back to Alfred, right click,
Yeah.
and now let's do the hotkey.
Okay.
And then nope.
So
you gotta
just a
create
new one.
a new object, and the trigger is a hotkey. All right. Now let's use. I mean, I would use typically all 3: Control, Option, Command, and then for you maybe W, or I'm sorry, M for macro.
Yeah, that
So get
works.
some alliteration there, or that. Yep, that works. Hit save. Okay, and now you can actually take that hotkey. Nope. The other way.
Yeah, sorry.
From the hotkey, go to macro the keyword. You're good.
Go to macro the keyword. Yeah.
No. So go to your hotkey.
Yep.
Yep. Grab that little thing that comes out and then plug that into the macro keyword.
Got it.
There you go.
Great. This isn't. I know this is insulting your sensibilities here, so this feels better.
There you go.
That feels
All right,
better.
now try it and see if it works. Command Shift M.
Oh, but then I
Okay,
still have to.
All right. So here's no. So this is where I did it wrong. What we did was we basically passed in. Let me see. Go double click on the hotkey. and
Oh,
then action. No, okay, I got it. So I'm doing this wrong. So cancel this. Okay, I got it. Like I said, we're hacking this. So
it's
here's what we're
cool.
gonna do. Yeah. So drag your hotkey above the macro key, above your macro. Yep. Now click on the link between the hotkey and the keyword, and that hit delete.
Okay.
Okay. Now right click. No, out in the blank space, and then choose utilities, I think,
Yeah.
and use junction. I think it's junction.
Junction. Oh, got
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Cool.
So then I'm
All
moving.
right.
This
So
one
you're going
goes
to need to
here.
delete all those previous connections
Right.
to all those URLs and then plug them into the junction.
So for folks who are regulars on the stream, we're not going to talk about junction tables. I know people get very excited on the stream when we talk about the word junction, and they get excited that that we're going to do junction tables. This is not it is a junction. Whoa, wrong side, wrong side.
Yeah, wrong side.
That was weird. It's like not letting me.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Just go the other way.
Wrong...
Just go the other way.
Oh, yeah.
That's my bad.
Okay.
There you go.
That's weird. But okay.
So this is saying no matter where you start, whether you start with the hotkey or the macro, go into this.
That's right. That's right. So now I'll see if that works. Hopefully this will work.
Okay, so Control Shift M. Dude. That's huge.
There it is.
So just new window, Control Shift. And this is like, I don't even need to, oh man. Okay, but so I'll treat in the chat is letting me know that I can actually connect my macro, my Arduino keyboard to this.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to know that I'm not going to have to throw this out.
So you can still use it, right? But you could actually like hook your Arduino thing up to Alfred, and now you have so much more control and visibility without even writing code.
I think that's true, but I had so much like props and I felt like I had chops of like, oh, I wrote this in like super niche C++.
I'm not going to take it away from you. I am very proud of you.
Thank you.
I would not
Thank
have
you,
been
Chris.
able to do that.
Thank you, Chris.
So this is my brute force way of doing things.
No, I like it. I actually think it's much more elegant and much more in line with my beliefs and kind of like what I usually build. This is like the odd thing out, but I will find a good use case for it. And cool. So this is dope. So I guess I do want to like we've been kind of hacking around for an hour, and I hope that folks kind of get an understanding of all of the possibilities here. I do want to kind of so here I'll ask you, Chris. Like, do you want to do Twitter Toolkit and talk a little bit about how to meta this? Do you want to do the create task in Airtable from? Because I know you're an Airtable user, so or in the chat, like, what do you prefer seeing? Learning a little bit more about this, or do folks want to do Airtable? Okay. So what do you prefer, Chris?
Sorry, Zoom crashed for me.
No, you're good. You're good on the stream. I've got a direct feed into your camera, so you're good.
That's right. Okay, but so what? I missed what you said though.
Oh, okay, that's more important. Do you want to do the Twitter Toolkit, or do you want to do Airtable?
Yeah, the Zapier. Alfred? Yeah. Let's do your thing. Yeah. So the Zapier, Alfred.
Okay, so for folks who maybe are new to the stream, I manage my life and my work all in Airtable. And actually, Zoom was a big challenge because in Zoom before today, actually, like you couldn't go out of the interface. If like someone was talking, it would take up your whole screen. And something I had to do, like people would be like, oh, we need to do this. And I wanted to like create a task or create an action item in the base I work out of without like clicking out of the interface and not, having eye contact with them. And so folks, I kind of hack together this thing, right? Which uses actually some of my favorite stuff, which is a webhook. So for folks want Notion in the chat, I would be happy to do Notion, but they don't have an API, so this doesn't work, unfortunately. As much as it breaks my heart, we're going to have to do Airtable. So let's kind of imagine this is a workaround, my understanding. Have you seen this before, Chris? Have you seen this workflow before? Have you?
Let's say I haven't. Let's say I've forgotten everything about this workflow.
So what this does is it uses the zap keyword So it says Zap, which could be like task. It could be whatever. And then it sends as a query whatever is after that space, right? And so from there, and frankly, this will work with whatever tool you're using. So this is not an Airtable specific. Any tool that integrates with Zapier, this will work with. So I use it for Airtable, but really I want everyone to generalize to whatever tool they use. We'll send that query, everything after, to Zapier. And how it does that is it runs a curl command. So it goes to the Zap URL, webhook URL, and then adds a variable called name and then the query, which is what you inputted. And so folks who are, often come to the stream are familiar with webhooks. If you haven't come before, that webhook just is a URL that Zapier can just take everything that's after the kind of a question mark. Let's do that. And then that Zap URL is in these options. I didn't really talk about workflow level variables. I'm not that familiar. Are you familiar with these kind of webhooks?
Yes.
Okay, talk to a little bit about what this like environment variables are.
Let me let's do a real example. So cancel out of this and go back to your Twitter toolkit but live.
I love the name. Yeah.
Okay. So click on the X that's up there. This is your workflow environment variables and about the workflow.
Yep.
So it's a little bit confusing because you have like kind of like the settings for the workflow and then you have the about and workflow variables. One of the things that we did here, or for you, was of course we're searching on your tweets, right? So when you search for that'll only be relative to you, and it uses your username
right here
in the query, right?
Yeah, here.
Right yes, here. Where it says from, exactly. Okay.
Right here, yeah.
So cancel out of this and go back to the X there. And now we're going to create a new environment variable. So hit plus, and then the name will be username.
Yep.
And then the value will be your username. So fill in the value there. Okay. Now, just quickly before you close this, where it says don't export, what that means is, like, for example, if you have an API key, then if you share this workflow, you don't want it to be the value of that API key to be included. Right. And so you click on don't export. So go ahead and turn that on because you don't want to export your username, right? Now hit save.
It's private information.
Right? Yeah, basically. Or just information that's personal. Now go back to your URL there on double click that. And now where it had your username, now you're going to type in curly brackets, var, colon, and then username.
What is this? Is a colon?
Yep, that is a colon.
That is a colon.
Semicolon has the comma in it.
English is my third language. Just saying. So I got excuses.
Great.
And then username.
Username. Yep. And then close the query. Yep, exactly. So that's pulling the environment variable and the value, and it's plugging it into the URL.
Got it.
And you're going to want to do that for the other one too. The other
my right here, yeah.
Yep.
That's good. Var.
So the reason why this is valuable, useful, and important is because you can set a lot of different variables and then pull them into your workflow this way.
Got it. Okay, cool. So that makes sense.
So for example, just to give you, hold on, just like an example of where this would be useful is if you actually have multiple Airtable bases. Right. And what you could do is you could actually create multiple workflows for each base. And all you would do is you would go into those variables and you would change, let's say, the table ID or the Airtable. They're all identified by like some crazy string.
Yeah, they have like a table. They have like a unique identifier.
Exactly. So that way you could actually create a workflow per each base that you're working on. Yeah.
So Penny, this is a way to say 2 dots in a URL. So that A is actually important.
So
I think I have it.
A is the URL encoding for a colon.
Right. Colon. Yeah,
exactly.
So this is good. This should be there. Okay, cool. Okay. So coming here. So this is, if I ever export this is saying, I should actually not export this if I ever share it.
Right. Exactly.
Which is the URL of Zapier. So let's actually build one from scratch. and I'll kind of maybe not from scratch, but maybe I'll adapt it to a
Probably
new
work within
Zap.
this one, right?
Yeah. So let's create
Also,
a new. Yeah, go ahead.
maybe one more thing that we want to clarify. Go
Sure.
back to Alfred, and then under the where it says Run Script
Yeah.
on the right, open that up. So what's important here is, the language is in the top left there. So
Right.
Alfred supports multiple languages. OA script AS is AppleScript. So if you know how to write AppleScript, then you can write AppleScript in here. If you want to write PHP or Ruby, so this is where Alfred gets incredibly powerful and goes
Right.
way above my pay grade. But you can either use Bash or Z Shell to execute these scripts. And essentially, if you use Bash, then whatever you type into this box is more or less the same thing as though you opened up a terminal and typed, in this case, curl, and then the webhook URL. So that's just what we're looking at here.
Interesting. So this kind of, I mean, I can write like some simple code, but I can imagine that there's a lot of like, if I ever want to do anything, I can kind of find code on the Alfred website and things like that and copy paste it here.
Yeah. Or, I find a bunch, on Stack Overflow or like places like that. One of the things, so while we're here, why don't I show you one more quick thing?
Sure.
Down next to, open that back up.
Oh,
Getting ahead of me. One of the things that sometimes you need to do is actually edit or see the internal workings of a workflow. And the way to do that is down next to the cancel button, to the left of the cancel button is a very like strange looking icon. Click that, and that will actually open the workflow in Finder. So switch to the list view.
Yes, sir.
All right. So here's basically this is what makes up this workflow. These are the guts of this workflow.
Got it. So this actually
so like
tells you, like I don't want to open that up, but I am opening it up.
As you open it up. But so that's just a text file, right? That's got a bunch of like the settings in it. But you can see
there, this is got it.
Somewhere in there, right? So there's a couple things. One, there's the README, right? So that's all the text that we saw in the about this workflow thing. And then if you scroll down, you'll eventually see that curl command in here. Keep scrolling down somewhere, but anyways, it's just there
we go.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. So that's like advanced. That's like folks who really want to go into the guts.
Why you might want to know that is because that is something that you'll probably notice and see in other workflows. And so if you want to debug
that's what
things,
they share.
For example, there's a bunch of workflows out there that are designed for Alfred 3. And of course, now we're in Alfred 4. And what happens is some of these scripts will test to see what version Alfred is. And sometimes like they'll still work, they'll still be functional, but it's like, if this is Alfred, above Alfred 3, then don't work. And you have to go in and like tweak it. So
got it.
What's nice about that is that means that all workflows are basically open source.
Got it. That's really cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try to, I actually have to jump my brain of how I created this. So let's go into Zapier. And I don't know how many folks are familiar with Zapier. Let me know in the chat, but we're going to make a new Zap. I don't want to install things on the stream. Okay, so we're going to catch a hook. So catching a hook. So we're going to catch hook. And that's just saying, that curl is a post to a specific URL. It's actually probably a get, not a post that goes to the URL, and anything that's after the URL that's provided becomes a variable that you can then use in Zapier. So let me kind of explain here what this means. So I'm catching a hook. It gives me a URL. So let's just go to that URL. And when you open any URL, so I'm just doing test123, this is saying, go to the URL, and the variable we're inputting is name, and that value is test123. It says, it worked. And now if I say continue and test the trigger, I have test123. So that connection, we're going to write some text in Alfred that is like zap some text. It's going to go to that URL, and then Zapier is going to be like, you inputted some text. I have that as a variable. What do you want me to do with it? Right. And so from there, really like, and I hate this, I was just going to sound like the world is your oyster, right? So like you can use any of 2000 plus Zaps, or so I use Airtable, but like if you're a fan of Trello or whatever cloud software, Slack.
I think like
Uh,
what's important to I think understand about this is we're starting to show how you can take this desktop software and
right.
start to actually manipulate web services
Hmm.
through the simple command interface.
Yeah.
And so you can go as complex or as simple as you want to do, based on what you're trying to accomplish.
So in this case, we're going to go to Airtable. You're totally right. Like, and Zapier, once you start Zapier, yeah, whatever. Once you start
Whatever.
playing around with it, you kind of like I write code in Zapier and do a bunch of stuff. So this is for folks who are familiar with the stream. This is something we do quite regularly. So we're going to create a new record, right? So let's go into my Airtable account. And let's go into my live stream. I think this is 33. Yep, Alfred App.
Nice. Yeah.
We're going to go into my task table. So, and here we're going to go and get what we had from step 1. So query string, we're saying test 1, 2, 3. So how I used it was like, I just want a task. I want a reminder that I need to do something. And then I don't remember what statuses were possible here. So let's go back here. I think I had like the default ones. So let's default it to do. How about that? That feels right. So we're going to enter to do. There we go. That's just inputting the value. Continue. Let's test that out. Test and review. It worked. If we go here, we have test 1, 2, 3. Right. Sorry for like the simplicity of this base, but I kind of hacked it together before. So, and then what I used to actually do is send myself a Slack message to say like, hey, like input it. So yeah, folks, like I personally pay for Zapier like in my life. So I highly recommend that everybody else does if it's worth it. Like you start using it and then upgrade. So I don't know if you can use webhooks in Zapier without paying. I don't think so. So, something to think about.
Maybe IFT might be another option.
Maybe. I've never used IFT. I've been a Zapier. I've been converted to Zapier so long ago that like, yeah, Integromat might be a good option as well. But whatever, there's a bunch of tools. Anything works. The framework that we're building is actually the same. That you'll use whatever. So I usually send myself. Ooh, Zapier's gotten pretty aggressive on turning on the Zap because I think a lot that forgot it. Which I'm.
Why isn't it working?
I was one of them.
And then they probably reduce their support queries
by like 50%, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so catch hook, create record in Airtable. So right now it's not going to work because we haven't set up the variable with the right URL. Right? So we need this to be that workflow level. Nope, not a remote page.
Yeah.
So let me change this to the one we just created. Let's save that. Okay, this theoretically works. Okay, so I said Zap.
Show Airtable, and then show that base because you can show the live updating, right?
Right, you're right. You're totally right. You are so confident in my ability to do this. I usually hide, and that way I can but you're right.
I believe in
Zap. So usually what I would do this is like, okay, talk to Jeff later today about XYZ. Boom.
Boom.
That's pretty cool.
Magic of the interwebs.
Yeah, totally. This is another success. We can do another success there. So yeah, no, I think, and what I hope people kind of take away from this is not like opening URLs or, integrating with Zapier. What I hope kind of people take away is this, like having a layer of automation on top of whatever else you use. And I think the way you framed it as like, see what you're doing over and over again, and then see Alfred as a way to automate that.
Yeah. I mean, we barely scratched the surface. Like literally, like what you have just done with Zapier could be done entirely within Alfred. You might have to write a little code or, go a little deeper, but just in the same way. So Zapier sort of is this like, massive piece of code that connects to all these inputs and outputs and all these different web services and handles authentication and authorization and all that. But if you're able or willing to do some of those things on or within Alfred, like it's super fast, very performative. You can also hook up notifications.
Right.
So, like in this case, you could have another webhook that actually pings back to,
Right.
I don't know, either Alfred or someplace else that basically says, yes, this worked. And here's a notification that says that happened.
Amazing. Okay. So I think we'll end it here, but what I'll say is like, Chris, we need to have you come back and we'll start from here.
Barely scratched.
We'll start from here.
I mean, totally.
And we'll go and we'll build from here. So I'm sure a lot of folks are really keen on learning more about Alfred. So I know you have a Substack where you exclusively talk about Alfred. So drop that in the chat and let us know. Give everyone in the chat, give Chris some love. We're going to be heading out here. I really appreciate all of you joining. Always fun to kind of bring on a new tool, bring on a new face on the stream. Chris, huge thanks to you for joining. Yeah. I hope you'll come back and, we'll start from here and we'll level up. So huge thanks to you for joining.
Totally. No, this is super fun. This is great to just get like that baseline. And now I need to watch all your back issues so I can learn all the great Airtable tips.
Yeah. No. So next week this might be interesting. We're doing iOS shortcuts with Matthew Castellini next week.
Oh, perfect. Didn't I put you in touch with him?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think we're all some niche automators.
Everyone's around the whole automation vibe.
Exactly. Yeah. And so they all come to the stream. So with that, huge thanks to you, Chris. Again, it means the world to me that you join, and huge thanks to all of you for coming. I'll see you back next week. So whatever, follow, subscribe, do whatever you need to do, that will bring you back next week. But true pleasure hosting these, and I'll let you go for today. Bye, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Penny. Thanks, Collium. Have a good one.